me. Can't focus on me.
Hey you guys, hi, I'm Marsha Rosè and welcome to my channel. So you guys, I am in my comfy red chair, and so you know that means it's conversation time. So before I get into this conversation, I would like for you guys to please like and subscribe to my channel and tell a friend to tell a friend to tell another friend to like and subscribe. Okay, let's get into this convo. So tonight I wanted to discuss my journey to healing, how it started, what I went through, etc., etc. Like, I'm actually going to be talking about like my therapy, the therapy that I had to go through and how it went. So, I have told you guys about my previous relationships and how they were, kind of hard, and they were abusive. They were physically abusive, physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, everything abusive. So when I got into my last relationship, the last relationship that I had, I was still wounded from those relationships. So when I got into that relationship, there was an incident that occurred and between her and I went off, like went into crazy mode, ran up on her, charged at her, fought her, and everything. And when I looked at her face after all I had did, I was like, yo, this is not me. Like, I am not this type of person. I know that this isn't coming from who I am per se. And I don't want to be like this in this relationship that I'm trying to have with this person. So let me figure out what it is that I need to do in order to make myself better, because who wants to be in a relationship with somebody that's abusive? Me, I didn't want to be that abusive person to my partner. So I was like, you know what? Let me go and start therapy. So I had told her that same day that incident happened. This is not me. I know that this stems from the things that I went through in previous relationships, and I'm going to do what it takes to, change that part of me. So the next day, I called a therapist. Called up a therapist right away to see if I can set up an appointment. At that time, I wasn't really working, but I did have state insurance. And with state insurance, you know that the insurance, it wasn't a lot of therapists that was taking the state insurance at that time. So I got whatever I could get. So the therapist that I ended up getting, it was it was a little petite white woman. And at that time I was still living in Connecticut. And I basically was telling her about the situation. She was okay with the whole, she understood where I came from, but she understood why I would have reacted that way. But she did also understand the part of me that said that this is not something that I want to be, so I have to figure out how to change it. So her and I were having sessions, and I think this was probably about March. And it's crazy because I was moving to North Carolina in May, so I wasn't able to continue that therapy with that person. But I honestly don't remember how therapy went with her. So it wasn't, I wasn't really I took it seriously when I was there. But after I left to come to North Carolina, my main focus was my relationship, getting my job, and, getting everything situated. So I had stopped therapy for a while and was just doing my thing. And then issues started occurring in the relationship. And mentally, I was going out of my mind. So there was somebody that I met in North Carolina. So I was talking to her about the issues, and she actually suggested her therapist that she was that she had. So with her therapist, she was a little older woman. She was a black woman. She was an older woman, and I think she was like a Christian type of therapist. So I was kind of hesitant because me being in a lesbian relationship and having a Christian kind of therapist, I don't think she would have been able to understand um what she would be able to put aside her spiritual as her spirit, the spiritual part of her, the religious part of her, and be able to look at my view when it came to my relationship issues. So I was with her for a while, and she was very inconsistent, and everyone knows who's been through therapy, when you're going through a mental health crisis, the last thing you need is your support system to be inconsistent. And having a therapist that you're supposed to count on being inconsistent was not it. So I think I probably spent about 6 months to a year with her until I just could not get into it. It was like one day I was talking to her about my relationship, and I can see on her face that it was bothering her. So that was another thing. And then another time I had went to the office cuz I had an appointment, and her office was locked. And it's like I literally called her. She did not call me. I called her and I was like, "What's going on? I'm supposed to be going to therapy. Why is your office locked?" And she was like, "Oh my gosh, this happened, da, 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 da." And ever since that day, I never went back to her again because who? Like, why? I'm literally having a mental breakdown. And as my therapist, you're supposed to be there for me, but you're not. And I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to be going through this situation. So I had stopped therapy for a while, after a little bit after that, but I still felt like I needed it because the issues that I was having in my relationship, I wasn't able to talk to my partner about it and it be something that I would be understood about. So I was like, you know what? I need an outlet. I need someone to speak to because if I don't, I'm going to go mentally crazy. And I don't want to go crazy on this person or her children or have an emotional breakdown. And I need to figure out what I need to do to approach situations better and to, just be a better me. So I ended up looking around on psychologytoday.com for another therapist. And I found one that was not too far from my home. And she was pretty good. Her and I were together for, I probably say, about a year. And I would talk, she was another black woman. I would talk to her about the situation. I was telling her what was going on in my life and my relationship. Because at that time when I was in therapy, my main focus was talking about my relationship because of what was going on in my relationship. So the majority of the conversation that I was pertaining to the relationship itself. So when I talked to her, I kind of, I started to feel better about myself, and it just, just starting to become a better version of me. But there would be times where I would go to the session and I would be talking. It's like she would be fading out and falling asleep. So that was another thing. I was like, you know what? I'm not about to be dealing with this. So I ended up like stop going to her as a therapist. And in 2018, so like in 2018, I went for my birthday trip to Brazil with all my friends and my partner and my brother. And we had a good time. And then when I came back home, it was like a feeling that I had of incomplete. I just felt like I didn't feel good about who I was. And I wanted to, get some validation on who Marsha Lee really is. And I was like, you know what? I need to figure out my life. I need to figure out me. I need to figure out what my purpose is in this life. And I feel like the best way to go about knowing that is to actually seek a therapist. So this time I actually like really searched around for a therapist. I had found a therapist on Psychology Today, but she was a life coach. So with a life coach, she didn't take insurance. So she had actually suggested her sister to me, and she was a therapist and she took my insurance. So I ended up going to her for the session. And one thing that I realized with her as my therapist was when I went into the office, she had journals, she had books. Her and I sat down and she wrote on the board, and she literally was like, I felt like she really cared about me. And then also she was a pastor. She's a pastor as well. And so that was like for me growing up in a Christian home, and to find a therapist that's also spirit religious like that, but also understands me, was very important. And she had just that. And so I was in therapy with her. We would talk about everything in the sun. If I said a cuss word, she was okay with it. She prayed with me in the beginning of our sessions. Like, our session was, she will start off with, you know, inhale in and out, and then she would like literally pray for me before the session starts, and then we'll get into the session. And that was very important to me, and I love that with her. And so her and I been together since 2018 up to now. It's probably like, what is it, like 6 years now? But there was a time where I took a break from her because she was too real. She was telling me too real, and I wasn't ready to face what I needed to face. So I ended up taking a break from her because I knew what she was saying was right, but at that point in time, I didn't want to hear it. So I needed another source to help me figure out another side of therapy, which was a specialist in being in narcissistic relationships. So I found a therapist that specialized in narcissistic relationships because at that time that's what I felt like I was in. So that therapist was good as well. She experienced narcissistic relationships, so she was very relatable. She was more like my friend than she was my therapist, because her and I will share different stories, and she would be able to know, I know where that came from, I know where that is. With my previous therapist, which I have now, she didn't know, she wasn't specialized in narcissism, so she wasn't able to give me the insight of what narcissism was and to help me understand it like my therapist that I had at that time. With that therapist, I was with her for I probably stayed with her for about 6 months, and that's when I really started to realize that, yeah, I that relation that therapist helped me push through and say, nah, I'm good. Like, this relationship isn't healthy for me. It's just not it. And I need to be, I need to be out of it. So I feel like that therapist gave me the courage to leave that situation. And I ended up in 2022 leaving that situation. I was gone before then, like, because I was fading away, because there was just like so many things going on in that relationship that mentally and emotionally I was just like, I became numb. I didn't really care much about any freaking thing, because it didn't matter if I cared or not, because the person that didn't care. So I just became numb and, just let shit be how it is. And then just one day I just ended up leaving. So when I left that relationship, I was like, you know what? I'm going to pick up my other therapist again, because that therapist helped me become a stronger me. Like, I've literally become a me that's like I know what I want in life. I know what I don't want in life. I know what my purpose is in life. I know it just gave me a sense of who I am as a person. And that to be for me going from relationship to relationship, I'm gonna say therapist is relationship, and then to finally find that good therapist that I just click with, where she literally helps me to find me, Marsha Lee. Like, it's a blessing, and I love my therapist. I love me some her. Like, she's a great therapist out here in North Carolina. And I just wanted to talk about this about the importance of therapy, because a lot of people are fearful of going to therapy because there's a lot of things that people don't want to face. Me, like I said, when I took a break off, it was because I didn't want to face certain things that my therapist was pointing out to me. So I understand. Like, I've went through some things I didn't want to face, but my healing and my future with my person and my children was more important than me being fearful of facing these things. So I sat down and I was like, you know what? I'm okay with facing these demons, because I am slowly but surely I am healing. There's certain things that I will not deal with at all. Certain people I will not deal with, and I'm fine with it. Being a people pleaser was the demise of who I was. But now, going through this journey of therapy, I'm able to heal that part of me. And to me, that's a blessing. Like, so you guys, if you guys are thinking about going to therapy, do it. It will be the one of the best decisions that you ever made. And yes, I know it's hard. It's hard facing those demons, but just to let you know, those demons are controlling you. You may not see the way that they're controlling you at this point in time, because sometimes we're just functioning broken people, so we think that we're okay until something happens, and then we're like, boom. And don't let it get to that far. Go to a therapist, go to a specialist, go to a life coach. Like I said, I'm a life coach, Marsha Rosè, life coach. I am the owner of Love Circle Coaching. Y'all could contact me, and I will help you through your journey to freedom, your journey to self-love, your journey to just being a better you. But even if you don't go to me, go to someone to help what you're going through, because we deserve to live to our full potential. And I feel like once you heal those things that people have put on you, you will be such a better person. But I'm going to end this video right now. Thank you guys so much for coming to my channel. And please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Marsha Rosè is out of here. Bye.
Can't focus on